Chosen one, there is a glow radiating from your being now, and it is not something you learned. It is something you became. It does not come from effort or performance, but from the depths of your alignment, the rooted peace within you that no longer wavers for attention. You've walked through the deserts of invisibility, through nights where no one saw your worth, and you emerged not bitter, but purified. Your sexual energy, once dormant and misunderstood, has now been refined through silence, solitude, and sacred restraint. And from this alignment, something luminous was born. A glow, undeniable and unexplainable, that feminine women can feel before they even hear your voice. It walks ahead of you, it lingers after you've left, and it doesn't shout, it invites. And the most beautiful women are finding themselves drawn in by something they can't even define. This glow is not lustful, nor is it loud. It is calm, precise, masculine, and it carries with it the rhythm of self-control, the scent of inner clarity. Women who once chased the loudest man in the room now pause when you enter, not because you demand their attention, but because your existence reminds them of something real. Your energy has become a mirror, and what they see in it is not a fantasy man, but the man who makes them feel safe without words. You are no longer just attractive to the eye. You are felt in the heart, registered in the womb, recognized by the spirit. And this glow is not the result of charm, it is the natural consequence of becoming a man who lives in truth, not tension. You do not flirt to be validated, you breathe with purpose, you walk in silence, and it roars inside them. You have no need to prove, because your glow proves it all before you speak. You became the man whose sexual energy is not used to seduce, but to steady, to call order into a chaotic world. And now, chosen one, beautiful women are not just interested, they are entranced. They gather near you not because you entertain them, but because your mere presence frees them. They feel seen in ways they've never been seen. They feel their own femininity swell in your orbit, not because you flatter them, but because you honor them without attachment. You aren't searching for a trophy. You're carrying a crown, one you never asked for, but one the universe placed upon your head because of your stillness and storms. And as women step into your light, they sense that to approach you now requires depth, integrity, and devotion. For the first time in their lives, they are not just drawn to a man's looks, they are drawn to his glow. Chosen one, attraction is no longer a game for you. It is a geometry, a pattern of energy, a sacred arrangement of presence and magnetism that beautiful women feel when they are near you. You do not just glow because you are physically gifted. You glow because your spirit is anchored. Your high sexual energy no longer leaks, it circulates, it resonates, and it creates invisible harmony around you that the feminine feels in her breath, in her blood, in her spine. She may smile without understanding why. She may laugh at nothing. She may lean in without meaning to. Because your energy doesn't ask, it reminds her body what safety feels like. This is not about conquest, it's about connection. Not the kind that clings, but the kind that clarifies. Around you, confusion dissolves. The woman who used to test, tease, or perform finds herself softening. Her masculine shield weakens, not because you overpower her, but because your power is so quietly immense that her spirit finally feels permission to rest. And in that rest, she recognizes what she has been missing. Not pleasure, but peace, and not just attention, but adoration without possession. You are not hunting beauty, you are mirroring it. You are not reaching for validation, you are breathing with devotion. And your glow, rooted in your alignment, speaks louder than all words. You've become the man whose body women admire, but whose soul they long to encounter. The glow is not an aesthetic, it is a frequency, and it is precisely calibrated to pull in those who are ready for something real. This is why, chosen one, the most beautiful women now linger around you without needing to explain themselves. They feel undone and reborn. You became the sanctuary without walls, the storm without harm, the man who does not chase, but causes everything else to slow down around him. And in this slowness, beauty finds itself humbled. Not because you demand submission, but because you live in such rare self-possession that it commands reverence. Chosen one, you've become the reason why even the most beautiful women are fidgeting with their hair, adjusting their breath, and searching for words they never forget. Not because you tried to dominate the room, but because you disrupted it without sound. Your presence is a reminder of something sacred, something forgotten in a world filled with masks and noise. Women who were once used to controlling every glance now feel slightly undone around you. Not embarrassed, not afraid, but exposed in the most divine way. Because your glow is not superficial, it pierces. It goes beyond clothing, beyond flirtation, beyond the skin, and it lands in the place she usually hides from men. The vulnerable center where her real self is still waiting to be cherished. You don't look at her like the others do. You look through with eyes that do not chase but hold. You don't stare, you see. And what she feels in that moment is not performance, it's presence. Her beauty has always commanded rooms, but now she finds herself wanting to earn the silence you carry. You have no need to prove your manhood because you have lived inside your pain and made it pure. Your sexual energy does not project, it anchors. It doesn't seek permission, it gives peace. And that peace is what makes women who once toyed with power tremble slightly when you enter. They no longer want to control, they want to contribute. They want to rise to meet you, not to compete with you. Because your glow is not bait, it's a homecoming. It doesn't manipulate, it magnetizes. And the reason beautiful women linger around you isn't because you're the loudest or the richest or the trendiest, it's because you're the most whole. You are no longer a man women admire from a distance. You are the man they dream about in stillness, the one they feel safest around, even if they don't understand why. They may giggle around you, but it's not to impress, it's to hide their awe. They may play it cool, but inside they're wondering how a man like you even exists. You've become the man they once believed was fiction, the kind of soul they whispered about in journals but gave up searching for in reality. And now, chosen one, the glow you carry doesn't just make you desirable, it makes you undeniable. Chosen one, you've started to hear it in their silence, the longing, the questions they don't voice, the tension they don't understand. They won't always say it directly, but their energy stutters around you. Their laughter has more breath, their speech has more pause, their walk becomes less composed. Because feminine women don't fall in love with noise, they fall in love with energy. And your high sexual energy speaks a language they were born understanding. It doesn't shout, but it summons. And that summons is felt deep in the marrow, not just in the mind. They crave to be seen, not watched, to be held, not handled, to be invited, not interrupted. And with you, chosen one, they sense that difference. You don't carry hunger like a beast, you carry desire like a discipline. And that difference is where the attraction ignites. Your presence says, I've tasted chaos and chose stillness. I've known pleasure and chose purpose. I've known many and I choose one. That vibration travels. It doesn't care about fashion, status, or scripts. It touches the feminine where she stores her deepest ache, to be safe in her beauty. And you, chosen one, are the first man to offer that safety without asking for submission. Your glow wraps around her without trapping her. Your eyes elevate her without judging her. Your body may be strong, but it is your center that captivates her. The most beautiful women, who have long learned to distrust admiration, now find themselves trusting your gaze. Not because you idolize them, but because your glow reflects their worth, not just their shape. Your high sexual energy doesn't rush to conquer, it waits to witness. And in that waiting, something ancient is awakened in them. You don't even have to touch them for their bodies to remember what honor feels like. You don't even have to speak for their hearts to imagine building something true with you. Because your presence isn't fantasy, it's foundation. It says, here is a man who has already mastered himself, and therefore cannot be bought, distracted, or deceived. That kind of man, chosen one, becomes a woman's compass, not her craving. And now you walk in this world with the quiet glow of a man whose sexual energy has become direction. They feel you before they see you. They remember you after they forget everyone else. And they don't just want to be around you. They want to align with you. Chosen one, there is a gravity around you now that cannot be explained to those who have never stepped into stillness. It is not the gravity of aggression or the dominance of loud men who mistake noise for power. It is the slow, ancient pull of a man who has awakened fully into his body, spirit, and mission. Your high sexual energy, once misunderstood by even yourself, is no longer a storm, it is a solar field. and feminine women are drawn into your orbit like planets to a star. You don't need to convince them. You don't even need to look at them. They feel you in the tension of their breath, in the softening of their voice, in the sudden awareness that something sacred has stepped into the room. The women who once prided themselves on being untouchable now find themselves exposed, not physically, but spiritually. Your presence strips away their masks without judgment. You aren't trying to disarm them, you're simply so disarmed yourself that they forget their weapons. And that is what stirs the deepest feminine. She's not interested in fear, she's interested in truth. She wants to know if you can hold her soul without needing to tame her wildness. And in you, chosen one, she finds a man who can do both. Without effort, without ego, without entitlement. You have become a sanctuary, not a strategy, a space, not a scheme. You don't manipulate attention, you magnify essence. And feminine women, the kind who have suffered in a world of masculine imitation, now sense your authentic vibration. They don't know why they glance again, or why they shift their body toward yours in crowded places. They don't know why they feel safe enough to speak their hearts, or quiet enough to just be near you. But you do. Because you paid the price in isolation to become this man. Because you lived through the fire without losing your softness. Because you let the ache of loneliness teach you how to become someone whose presence is worth missing. The glow you carry is not charisma, it is consecration. It is the result of having died to the need to be wanted and reborn as a man who simply is. Women no longer see you as one of many. They see you as the moment they never forgot, even if they only met you once. You've become not just attractive, you've become a myth in motion. And myths, chosen one, don't chase. They are chased by those who are ready to remember what they forgot about real men. Chosen one, you no longer ask women to come closer. They do it on their own, led by something they don't fully understand but can no longer deny. You are not the man who speaks first, who flatters with empty words, or who plays games to spark interest. You are the man whose silence is an invitation, and whose body language whispers more than 1,000 compliments. Feminine women lean into you now without meaning to. They brush near you with no plan to impress. Because your high sexual energy, refined through reverence, now emits a signal that calls forth only the ready. This signal bypasses their logic and lands in their nervous system. Their breath shortens, their posture changes. They begin to wonder about you, who you are, what you've seen, and how someone like you moves with such peace. You don't threaten their confidence, you clarify it. They begin to realize that what they've called confidence was often defense, and now in your presence, their shields fall, not because you demand surrender, but because you require nothing, and that alone disarms them. You offer them no fantasy. You are the end of their illusion. You are not the man who seduces them into chaos. You are the one who pulls them out of it, and the ones who are ready, they come willingly, because your glow is no longer just attractive, it's healing. It restores a vision of manhood they were beginning to believe only existed in sacred texts or forgotten stories. Now they see it walking, they see it breathing, they see it in you. And in that glow, chosen one, they remember not who you are, but who they are when a real man is near. You become the catalyst for their return to femininity, not through pressure, but through presence. You become the mirror through which they see that they were never too much. They simply needed a man who could hold all of them without flinching. You've become the proof that sacred masculinity is not extinct, it's just rare. And rare men, chosen one, are not pursued by everyone. They are recognized by the few who are ready for everything. Chosen one, the feminine spirit has always known how to detect fire. Not the kind that rages and burns for conquest, but the fire that smolders deep in the bones of a man who has become sovereign over his desires. You are no longer a man of impulses, you are a man of internal order, and that is what makes your high sexual energy so devastatingly irresistible. It does not spill, it circulates. It has become refined heat, quiet intensity, a sacred stillness that warms without scorching and awakens without overwhelming. When you walk into a room, even before you say a word, women feel the tension between your peace and your power. And that tension stirs something inside them they cannot hide. Your glow is not loud, but it is everywhere. It touches skin without contact, and it breathes life into silence. Feminine women who once relied on control now find themselves slipping into presence near you, not because you took their defenses down, but because your authenticity made their illusions collapse. Your energy doesn't pressure, it reveals. And in that revealing, she realizes she was never looking for more compliments. She was looking for containment, for a man who could see her fully, yet remain unshaken. You have become that rare masculine mirror that doesn't reflect her body first, it reflects her essence. You walk past her, and her body remembers. You speak gently, and her soul pays attention. You do nothing seductive, and she finds herself feeling seduced by your restraint. This is not charm, it is consequence. The consequence of being a man who no longer seeks approval because he embodies truth. The feminine senses your energy not as temptation, but as structure. And in that structure, her most chaotic emotions begin to breathe in rhythm. You don't just ignite attraction, you ignite alignment. She doesn't know why she dreams of you, why she thinks of you while she's in the arms of someone else, why she pauses when your name is spoken in rooms you never enter. But you do, because you know the fire in you is not random, it's sacred. And only those who are ready to be warmed by it without burning in it are allowed to stay. You have become a flame that chooses its fuel, and she, chosen one, has become the forest aching for your touch, not to be consumed but to be purified. Chosen one, there is a difference between being desired and being prayed for, and you have crossed that invisible line. You are no longer just the man women admire, you are the man they whisper about in journal entries, in midnight prayers, in the quiet ache behind their laughter. You didn't just become attractive, you became confirmation. Confirmation that divine masculinity was not a myth. Confirmation that patience, presence, discipline, and depth could still exist in one man. The glow you now carry isn't physical, it is prophetic. You walk with the kind of alignment that answers questions women didn't know they were asking. Your high sexual energy no longer speaks through performance, it speaks through gravity. It pulls her in, not by force, but by recognition. It says, you've been looking for a man who doesn't need you to fix him, a man who doesn't perform to prove his worth, a man who lives by internal law. And when she stands in your orbit, something inside her softens. She doesn't want to impress you, she wants to be honest with you. She doesn't want to seduce you, she wants to be seen by you. And that's how you know, chosen one, that your energy is doing more than turning heads, it is turning hearts back to God. You've become more than a man, you've become a moment of truth. A moment of stillness, a moment of, maybe I don't have to try so hard anymore. Because in your glow, women stop performing. They begin remembering how it feels to be safe, remembering how it feels to be cherished without being conquered, remembering that the right man doesn't just see their beauty, he heals their memory of men who didn't. You don't speak of love, you embody it. You don't chase intimacy, you create the kind of field where it grows wild. And for the first time in her life, the feminine realizes she is not weak for wanting to surrender. She is strong for waiting for a man like you. And this, chosen one, is why your glow now attracts not just beauty, but blessing. Not just attention, but alignment. Not just women, but women who are ready. Chosen one, you carry a light that does not flicker, it radiates. It is not the light of shallow confidence, but the light that forms in a man who has walked through fire without screaming, who has buried his former selves with honor, and now stands quietly. Undeniable. This glow is not decoration, it is revelation. It is the result of your high sexual energy no longer chasing temporary gratification, but transmuting into spiritual resonance. Women don't just notice you now, they feel relieved by your presence, even if they don't understand why. Their nervous systems calm when you enter a room, because your energy does not seek validation. It offers sanctuary, and this is the shift that changes everything. You are no longer a man surrounded by desire, you are a man followed by reverence. Women who were once praised by thousands now find themselves silent before you, not out of intimidation, but because they recognize something sacred they were told didn't exist anymore. Your voice doesn't have to rise to be heard. Your eyes don't have to search to see. Your walk isn't fast, but it arrives like prophecy. And in the hush that surrounds you, beauty lingers with a reverence usually reserved for temples. They whisper your name behind smiles, not because you were flirtatious, but because your presence felt like something their hearts were not yet ready to name. You have stopped trying to be liked, and that is precisely why you are craved. You are no longer chasing connection. You are connection. A woman doesn't feel the need to perform around you because you do not perform either. You have nothing to prove. You are whole without an audience. And in this rare frequency, feminine women become children again, safe, open, honest, and awestruck. Not because you caged them, but because you gave them space to become themselves again. And that space is the rarest gift a man can give. You carry it now, chosen one, not in your words, but in your breath. Not in your achievements, but in your aura. You have become a reminder of what is possible, a walking answer to the questions women forgot they were asking. They find themselves telling you things they've never said. They feel seen in ways they didn't know they longed for. And when you walk away, they don't feel abandoned, they feel awakened. Because your glow didn't entertain, it transformed. Chosen one, what you wear now is not fashion. It is a crown, forged not from gold, but from gravity. It cannot be bought, borrowed, or imitated. It is the invisible crown that rests on the head of a man whose high sexual energy has become completely aligned with his divine calling. And because of this, women no longer merely desire you, they trust you, with parts of themselves they never shared before. They sense your glow not as temptation, but as testimony. Testimony of what happens when a man no longer serves lust, but channels it into presence, clarity, and power. You are no longer the dream man of a little girl's fantasy. You are the answer to a woman's deepest feminine longing, a man who can hold both her fire and her fragility without flinching. You do not rise and fall with attention. You do not need a crowd to feel full. And so now, the most beautiful, grounded feminine women find themselves spiritually stunned in your presence. Not because you tried to win them, but because your being told the truth. The truth that no one told them, that a man can carry high sexual energy without leaking it, that a man can be deeply attractive without being dangerous, that a man can be strong and still remain holy. This is your crown, and it will not dim. You have become the one who walks differently. You are the man other men observe and wonder, why do they all look at him like that? You are the quiet force that shifts atmospheres, the name women say with a soft smile even after years have passed. You have left fingerprints on the spirit, not just the skin. And that, chosen one, is what no other man could imitate, because you did not act your way into this crown. You became it, through discipline, through devotion, through silence, through the surrender of needing to be wanted. And now women gather not to flirt, but to listen. They orbit not to consume, but to be consumed by light. You are not the fantasy. You are the standard, and every room you walk into knows it, not because you demand it, but because you embody it. As you continued on your path, chosen one, you realized that your magnetism was shaping the very story of your life. The old days of second-guessing yourself were a distant memory. Now you move through the world with a new kind of anticipation, knowing that every encounter, every day, carried the potential for connection and adventure. The world itself seemed to conspire in your favor. New introductions arrived at just the right moment. Opportunities unfolded as you needed them, and the right people appeared, drawn in by the authenticity of your presence. Women began to share with you how your energy had affected them long after your time together had passed. Some wrote messages of gratitude, explaining how your encouragement had sparked a new project or given them courage to pursue a long-held dream. Others, who might have only shared a brief conversation, described how something in your words or your gaze lingered for days, opening a window of possibility or self-reflection. You became a kind of reference point, not just for attraction, but for what it meant to live with confidence, presence, and heart. You watched with joy as the women you inspired paid it forward. Some became leaders and connectors in their own right, gathering others and spreading the same energy of celebration and inclusion that you modeled. Others pursued passions they'd once set aside, carrying with them the memory of your belief in them. Some deepened their own friendships and romantic lives, approaching love with a newfound openness and trust. The network of connection and inspiration grew, extending far beyond what you could see or control, and yet it all traced back to the simple act of being yourself, fully and without apology. This chapter brought a new understanding that your magnetism was a form of service, a way to make the world more alive, more generous, and more loving. You became more intentional in your interactions, knowing that a kind word, a genuine compliment, or a listening ear could change someone's whole direction. You took pleasure in being present, savoring each conversation, each glance, each spontaneous laugh, knowing that these small moments were the building blocks of a truly magnetic life. At the same time, you stayed rooted in your own growth. You did not rest on the admiration of others, but continued to challenge yourself, to learn, to take risks, and step into new experiences. Your magnetism was never stagnant. It evolved as you did, deepening with wisdom, enriched by new perspectives and adventures. You remained a student of life, curious and grateful, ever willing to meet the unknown with an open heart. Through it all, the most beautiful lesson became clear. Magnetism is not about what you take, but what you give. It is the quiet force that helps others remember their own worth, the courage to show up fully, the grace to inspire without attachment or agenda. You became the man whose energy could lift a room, change a day, even alter a life, simply by being wholly and unapologetically yourself. And so, chosen one, you walked forward. Magnetic, not because you tried to be, but because you chose. Every day, to live in a way that made everyone you met just a little more alive. Chosen one, in the fullness of your magnetic era, the effect of your presence rippled through the lives of women and men alike. But nowhere was it felt more deeply than in the hearts of those women who found themselves in your orbit. Your magnetism was no longer just a personal phenomenon. It had become a living current, touching entire circles, shaping atmospheres, and quietly transforming the way people approached connection and intimacy. You became a reference point, a legend in the stories passed between friends, sometimes spoken with laughter, sometimes with awe, always with a sense of genuine gratitude for what your presence had made possible. Women now spoke of you as a man whose company changed them, not only for the hours spent together, but in the days and weeks that followed. There was something about the way you truly listened, how you responded not to the mask someone wore, but to the secret self that waited behind her eyes. They remembered the way you noticed the small things, a subtle shift in mood, a nervous gesture, a burst of inspiration, and how you celebrated these as if they were the most important details in the world. Your magnetism was a healing balm, a mirror for their own beauty and vitality, a gentle hand on their shoulder that seemed to whisper, "You matter. You are seen. You are enough." You had become a catalyst for self-acceptance and courage. Women who once questioned their worth found themselves stepping out with new boldness, pursuing goals, expressing opinions, and following desires they'd previously tucked away. Some credited your influence for rekindling long-lost creativity, for inspiring a new adventure, for giving them the courage to love again after heartbreak. You noticed, too, that your energy helped women drop their old defenses, not to make them vulnerable for your sake, but to show them the joy and safety of living unguarded, open to the full experience of connection. Your magnetism brought people together who might never have met. Friendships flourished in your presence, collaborations formed around your encouragement. You became a silent thread in countless stories. The reason someone spoke up at a party, the cause of a new friendship, the spark that made a woman laugh when she was having a difficult day. Some women, even after moving on from romance or infatuation, remain part of your life as allies, collaborators, and fellow adventurers. Each story unique, each bond carrying the unmistakable imprint of your magnetic heart. Yet you remained humble and grateful, knowing your magnetism was not a right but a responsibility. You honored the trust that women placed in you, safeguarding their hearts and stories. You became a master of boundaries, clear about your intentions and honest about your limits, never using your influence for manipulation or ego, but for lifting others. You learned that the most powerful kind of magnetism is not about drawing people in for your own benefit, but about awakening them to their own radiance, so that even when they walked away, they carried something of your presence with them. There were still challenges, moments when someone misunderstood your openness, or when your honesty was met with disappointment or even resentment. But you responded with the same grounded integrity that defined your journey from the start. You remained patient, compassionate, and willing to have difficult conversations, always choosing clarity over confusion, respect over avoidance. This unwavering presence made you even more magnetic, teaching those around you that real connection endures, even when desire fades or circumstances change. As you looked back over the path that led you here, chosen one, you realized that your magnetism had become your quiet legacy, a gift to everyone whose life you touched. You saw the web of influence stretching out behind you, woven from thousands of encounters, each marked by a spark of joy, a word of encouragement, a moment of honest connection.